101.9 FM. It's time to take you through the stories the business stories, talking about economic trend on Rock City 101.9 FM. I am Simiat Abaru. Liquefied natural gas (NLNG) has assured the public that it will make available 13,000 metric tons of cooking gas. The company's manager, external relations, Mr. Tony Okenedo, told newsmen in Lagos that apart from this, additional 13,000 metric tons of the product will be released to the market immediately. Okenedo says that another 13,000 metric tons is expected to be discharged any moment from now. He explains that the company would continue to ensure adequate supply and price stability of the product. The NLNG spokesman, according to him, is alleviating the impact of price variations, insisting that the company would continue to work with stakeholders to stabilize gas price. However, Mr. Bassi Esian, Executive Secretary, Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers, NAPGAM, said the price of cooking gas was still on the high side. Essien said that NavGas company was selling 20 metric tons of gas for about 5.5 million naira as against 3.5 million naira in November 2016. Jigawa state government plans to donate 50 million naira towards the rebuilding of the economy of states in the northern part of the country. The State Commissioner for Information, Youth and Sport, Alhaji Bala Ibrahim, says the State Executive Council presided over by the governor had approved the release of 50 million naira as its contribution towards restructuring the economy of northern states. He said the money was Jigawa's monthly contribution towards the project and was agreed by 19 northern state governors at its just concluded meeting in Kaduna. The commissioner explains that the State Governors Forum wants to create an economic base that will enable states to establish financial institutions that will cater for the interest of the North. Ibrahim says that such a move would help to address economic challenges in the North. Meanwhile, the State Executive Council has also set up a 5-man committee headed by the Deputy Governor Alhaji Ibrahim Hassan to verify state-owned landed property in Kano, Kaduna, Abuja, and Lagos. Presidency is to provide 100 locomotives to improve the operation of the single-gauge rail track on Lagos-Kano and Port Harcourt-Gombe routes. Transport Minister Rotimi Amechi, who made this known during a visit to Governor Abdullahi Juje at the Kano State Government House in Kano, says the locomotives will be deployed before the end of June. The minister also told the governor that the Abuja-Kaduna standard gauge rail track is to be extended to Kano metropolis. Federal Executive Council, according to Amechi, had approved $1.2 billion for the project, which will be financed by the Chinese Exim Bank. The minister explains that negotiations with the Chinese Export Financial Bank will be completed by end of June this year. Medview Airline, one of Nigeria's fastest growing flag carriers, will be listed by introduction on the Nigerian Stock Exchange (NLC) on January 31. Medview's Executive Director, Business Development, Mr. Isiaq Naala, said the listing would enable the airline to expand its route network and acquire more aircraft to boost its operations. According to him, Medview is the first airline to list its shares on the local bourse in the last decade. He named Kedari Capital Limited and Trust Yield Securities Limited as the financial advisors, issuing house and stockbrokers to Medview Airline in respect of the listing. Naala said in recognition that aviation was global, the airline was in partnership with notable brands including Boeing Commercial Airplane Group, Na Airline, Air Atlanta, Saudia Cargo, Ethiopian Airlines, Euro-Atlantics, and Amadeus. According to him, the airline currently boasts of over 2 million passengers on its domestic routes and over 200,000 passengers on its international routes. He said Medview Airline had conveyed 300,000 pilgrims to perform Hajj since 2007, while it had also carried 46 million tons of cargo annually since 2000. 2009. Edo State government says it will establish cattle ranches in the state to address challenges posed by activities of troublesome herdsmen. Governor Godwin Obaseki announced the plan to agro-allied investors at the ongoing Edo Agribusiness Workshop in Benin City. The proposed cattle ranches, according to the governor, would be built in each of the state's local government areas. It describes cattle ranches as cheaper and more effective than building modern moats around farms to keep away cattle. Fire outbreak has gutted the Suleja depot of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) near the Federal Capital Territory. Explosions during the fire outbreak caused panic in the area. Officer in charge of the depot, Mohammed Kwale, says the fire, which started around 4:30 a.m. on Sunday, was put out by 5 a.m. The fire, according to the depot manager, burnt an articulated truck as well as damaged the loading canopy and pipeline at the depot. Edo State government is rehabilitating the abandoned fertilizer plant at Auchi. Governor Godwin Obaseki says the plant will be running in the next 3 months, creating the first set of employment to the people. Obaseki made the disclosure while speaking with journalists shortly after on-the-spot assessment visit to the site with the managing director of the Nigerian Sovereign Wealth Fund, along with other investors in Auchi in the Otsako West local government area. Mr. Thomas Etu, President Fertilizer Producers Association of Nigeria, who described the abandoned fertilizer plant as a great facility, said with some little investment, this factory will be up and running in the next 2 to 3 months. Etu said that with the presidential initiative on ground, it is a place that jobs will be created, with a minimum of 1,000 people being on the train of shifts running in the factory. He also predicts that the prices of fertilizer would come down and become affordable to the farmers at 5,500 naira. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria (MAN) has expressed its concern about the current state of interest rate. The association plans to advocate for concessionary interest rates of 5% for manufacturers from the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) and commercial banks this year. The president, MAN, Dr. Frank Ndemba Jacob, disclosing this at the MAN annual media launching yesterday in Lagos, says that the association has done its best on its advocacy on lowering the monetary policy rate. MAN, according to him, will continue asking for 5% interest rate for the manufacturers, as high interest rate would not favor manufacturers. Speaking on foreign exchange, Jacob explains that unavailability of foreign exchange has forced most manufacturers to close shop or reduce their capacity. While advocating for the reviewing of Export Expansion Grants (EEG), which has been in limbo since 2014, he says that MAN is calling for improved budgetary allocation for the upgrade of critical infrastructure by the federal government as evidence for the establishment of the Development Bank of Nigeria (DBN). Nigerian Union of Railway Workers has expressed fear that the planned concession of the railway system by the federal government will lead to loss of jobs of no fewer than 15,000 of its members. Mr. Saudu Garba, the President General of the union, said the concession will also retard the economic instead of growth. He therefore advised the federal government to reverse the planned concession so as not to worsen the nation's economy. According to him, a privatization policy has not brought any positive change to the economy from its inception, citing the examples of NEPA and NITEL. The union leader said that the proposed concession, if implemented, would affect over 15,000 workforce of the Nigerian Railway Corporation (NRC). The fear of NUR about job loss if the railway is concessioned was allayed by the Minister of Transport Rotimi Amechi in October 2016 in Abuja. Amechi said at an international transportation conference in Abuja, where the idea of concessioning the railway was announced, that an American company, General Electric (GE), would take over the management of NRC under a concession plan. According to him, the entrance of General Electric into the management of the NRC was to harness the full potential of rail transportation infrastructure. Volkswagen has overtaken Toyota to become the world's best-selling car maker, the first time the German company has held the position. Japan's Toyota, which had topped sales for the past 4 years, sold 10.175 million vehicles globally in 2016, falling short of the 10.31 million sales which Volkswagen reported last week. The milestone comes despite Volkswagen's scandal over emissions test cheating, which sparked a global backlash and multiple lawsuits. Volkswagen, which makes the Audi, Porsche, and Skoda brands, saw a 3.8% increase in sales, buoyed by demand in China, and it has been making inroads in other markets too. In Sweden, for example, the Volkswagen Golf was the most popular new car in 2016, the first time in more than half a century that a Volvo hadn't topped the country's sales. General Motors was the world's third largest car maker in 2015. It held the #1 title in 2011 after Toyota's production was hit by a massive earthquake and tsunami in northeastern Japan. With that, we've come to the end of Economic Trend today on Rock City 101.9 FM. To be back next week, Monday, same time, same station. I am Simiat Abaru. Good morning.